You so much and welcome everybody. How are we all doing? Are we all right? Nice to see you all and glad to hear that wherever you are, there's nobody's got a cold or the flu and it's just me. So it's a shame that I'm the one who's going to be doing most of the talking. So but long may your illness-free existence continue for as long as possible. Thank you for joining us today. I am Paul Webster. I'm the subject advisor for our drama and performing arts qualifications here at Pearson, and I'll be leading the session. We've got a fair few things to get through. Um, we're going to begin with a little look back at what happened in the summer series and last year. And then we will look at the key events and dates for this year and everything we've got to look forward to. There'll also be an opportunity to look at some resources and approaches to teaching, and of course, an opportunity for you to ask any questions. So you can ask away in the chat, and I will keep an eye on anything that you're saying. I can see that we have people everywhere. This is incredible. Locations. We've got Dubai, we've got Marbella, we've got Portishead, Banbury. I mean, we are everywhere. Oh, and big up the London crew. I'm also in London as well, in Walthamstow. Luke, you've asked the first question, which is about the slides. We've got in your pack, in your delegate pack, there's a copy of the slides already, so you can open those now. And as we go through, there will be some links that you can click on in those slides to the website. So when we're talking about particular things, you'll be able to have a look at those documents or web pages. There's also another couple of useful documents in there, the ASG and the AI guide that we'll be talking about. So you leave whenever you have to, Luke. If you need to leave and you do have questions, then you can contact me afterwards. I will give you my details of how you can contact me very shortly. So let's look first of all at what happened last year. And it was the same standards and expectations as it was in 2023. So we're kind of back to a sense of normality after the pandemic years. In terms of the number of students taking GCSE drama, it did continue to fall again. And in 2023, we were at 53,461. It went down to 2,039. So it's a drop of 0.8%. And we do have students, like in terms of performing arts and drama and dance provision, there are other qualifications that students are doing, but it's just such a shame to see the number of students taking drama fall each year. And we can only hope that with this new government, there will be a change in approach and policy and a focus on creative subjects. So we've been battling away wherever possible to get them to hear us on that. So fingers crossed we can see an upturn in the future. In terms of how the qualifications run, AQA have the market share at GCSE, and we're in second place, and then it's Educas and then OCR. Other couple of other things to consider. The lead examiner report this year for component 3 contains lots of examples of student responses, and we'll also be releasing some new exemplars and standardization materials for the other components this term as well. So let's have a look first at how component 1 did. In the on the screen in front of you, you'll see there's the highlighted principal moderator report. If you open the slides that are in the delegate pack, you're then able to link through to the report on the website. So the most popular stimuli last year were pictures and photos, and the popular themes included bullying and outcast disabilities, body image, knife crime, fake news, social media, mental health issues, lots of topical um, content that students are getting to learn about, and it is brilliant as a subject drama because students can not only be introduced to things that they may not know about in terms of society and culture, but also they get the opportunity to explore them and discuss them and go into detail with them and respond creatively to them. So this is why we need GCSE drama, just one of the reasons. So in the principal moderator's report, there's lots more examples and some really good useful advice, including these points. So we've got successful students and what they are able to have and what they were able to do within their portfolios. So, they covered the 6 questions and the essential areas of coverage. They made full use of the word count. It had included some health and safety considerations at some point during their portfolio in some form. They avoided a kind of diary-like approach or a general discussion. They really got into the detail. They were able to use drama terminology effectively to explain and analyze the drama that had taken place, and they were able to kind of stay focused on what they needed to stay focused on according to their chosen role within the portfolio. Some other points that came up within the principal moderator report. So for question 2, the discussing the exploration of the stimuli, material that took place in the drama studios using explorative strategies such as still images and hot seating, etc. In question 4, that students, the best ones were including all the areas around characterization, genre, style, form, structure, and language. And they did that by analysing and evaluating key moments of the process and the performance rather than just responding in a list that is generic and lacks depth. And in questions 5 and 6, they stay focused on their skill rather than focusing on the process, so focusing on the skill within the final performance. And they use the first person in the portfolio evidence. In regard to performances, students were the best ones were, had lots of rehearsal and they were polished and there was a focus on creativity and impact on the audience. They were fully engaged within their role. It was obvious that they'd worked collaboratively and actively contributed to the refinement of the work within the rehearsal process, and that they'd shaped and developed ideas practically rather than repeating and polishing without any sense of progression. And they made notes made clear notes, including examples through the process, and reflected on the final performance straight after the performance had taken place, rather than leave it for weeks, sometimes months, before they return to it. So Poppy's asked about presentations. We do have some students who do a presentation, whether that is whether just answering the 6 questions that are asked to them, or they've included some kind of presentation, but we don't have that many. And I think that's just because I think there's a number of reasons. Students may not feel that confident when it comes to talking, and they can feel like they've got more time to develop their ideas when it's in written form. And it may be that the teacher who is, kind of saying, let's all do it in the same way, because it's more straightforward to manage, and there aren't that many kind of resources and examples that we've got that you can refer back to. So, with that in mind, if anybody has had successful um, examples of students responding in an audio visual way rather than in written form for component one, then please do get in touch because it would be great to be able to share these examples with other teachers as well. When it comes to component two, we have there's some really good advice in the lead examiner report for this component. And if so, for example, if you want to, if you're trying to manage how students like allocation of texts and extracts according to group numbers and preferences, then one idea that the lead examiner talks about is about creating a variety of extracts for the preferred text that you want to use for the chosen performance route. So there's a group of four, two male, two female, there's a female monologue, there's a male monologue, etc. And then you group and cast the students into those chosen extracts because it's likely that by doing it the other way round, you might run into more difficulties by trying to shoehorn a pre-selected group size into an extract that doesn't fit. This can have an impact on the shape and meaning of the play being altered, students multi-rolling when they don't necessarily need to in order to produce a performance of required length. So it may be that you want to consider doing it that way. I thought it was quite a nice idea from the lead examiner. On the screen, you can see some of the popular choices for monologues and duologues, and the list within the um, the list within the lead examiner report is really extensive. There are literally hundreds there. So if you are stuck for ideas or you're looking for new works, then I would have a look in there. So you probably recognise quite a few there for some perennial favourites going on. And what we have done as well is we've updated our list of texts on the online submission form. And we just ask that you make sure that monologues have to meet because they have to meet the minimum 2 minute timing. And it might be worth ensuring that the text is actually um, like 2.5 minutes in a normal run through because lots of students can just gallop through in the actual performance and just speed up for whatever reason, nerves, a need to get it over and done with. So it might be worth just ensuring that it's a little bit longer than required, definitely longer than the 2 minutes. Um, In terms of group performances, there are some examples there. Again, some real favourites with things like Girls Like That and Numbers by Kieran Barry. That's really both really popular plays. Excuse me. Um, and also things like Bouncers and Memory of Water, Teachers and Find Me. In terms of the intention of communication form, um, each student will need two of those, one for each extract. And although they're not marked on it, they do help the examiner in terms of their assessment of the work. So what should be included in the IOC is a kind of that clear examples of the performance skills or the design skills that would be used to communicate to an audience. And there's a strong understanding of the context of the extract within the play as a whole. And it may be that the students are quoting particular lines or moments. We have a pro forma that you can use if you want to. We've also got some examples of popular text there that we use with designers. So Blood Brothers and Too Much Punch for Judy, etc. Some other very useful tips within the lead examiner report for component 2 around multi-rolling. So maybe avoid it unless the role has been written to be multi-rolled. For not interpreting song lyrics as dialogue, for example, in Blood Brothers. The overarching permission to change the gender of a character and to allow students to play gender roles different to their own. Not amending dialogue, so not changing the actual dialogue. You can edit it, but you just can't actually change it. So when it comes to certain references within particular plays, you're not allowed to do that. But there's a lot of really useful information in that report. So in terms of successful students performing in component 2, the highest scoring ones, um, the key factors seem to be around the level of preparation and the depth of understanding that the students did, and there were lots of really extremely polished theatrical performances and outstanding performances this year. Um, it was obvious that students understood the character that they were playing and they had a firm grasp on the extract. There was confidence, there was control and appreciation of the chosen style. They were at ease with what they were doing. They were committed, and their vocal and physical skills were fluid and showed some range and depth. And in terms of designers, um, again, some higher scoring design work. There was confidence and the understanding of the text and the performances that they were doing, that they were working with, and they had collaborated well within the group or within the pairing. In terms of lighting, students understood how lighting can enhance the performance and clearly work with the performers so that the actors were always kind of clearly lit. There was imagination and detail in the completion of the design, and that it was a positive choice for those that were doing the high scoring ones, that it's obvious that they really took this opportunity to enhance the interpretation of the character. Yeah, some really good examples in the lead examiner report. I can just see there's some questions in here. Zawina, we don't provide an examiner report for component 2. So as with component 3, there's no centre examiner report because they are externally assessed. Um, and Natasha, my linking of the reports might have gone a bit awry at times. So if you just have a click around, you should be able to find the right one. All of these documents are on the website in the course materials section. Emma, the list of plays in component 2, because there are 12 set texts and they have their own combinations of what's allowed at the moment, they are just in lists. We could look into releasing them, and I suppose it's how you would best like to access that, like in an Excel sheet. If anybody has any ideas of how you would best like to have the lists of all the plays according to the particular set text that you're choosing, please do let me know because we want to make it. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Yeah, we could do that and then put that on and then just be able to click on to the particular set text and see what's available at the moment. Okay, we'll do that. Don't know whether I've missed anything else off there. Did all students using Blood Brothers for monologues use I wish I was Arsenic? I mean, quite a lot of them. Um, right, let's move on to component 3 now. And what we've got, as you know, they're split into 2 lists. For List A, the most popular texts are An Inspector Calls and The Crucible, like they're way out in front. But students did respond to the other four texts as well. So it's good to see the A Doll's House and Antigone are also getting students studying those because they're great plays. And then with List B, the most popular ones are DNA 100, Blue Stockings, and 1984. Again, there are an increasing number of students using Gone Too Far and the Free Nine. So, and we have loads of resources. So if you are interested in exploring other set texts, then please have a look at those. Now, the principal examiner report includes examples of student responses this year. There's loads of them. So have a look if you haven't done already. Huge range in there. There's lots of useful overviews and tips in the reports for each question. So take the time to read the reports if you haven't done already. I'm not going to go into all the detail now because there's just so much to cover. But please have a look when you can. And then for section B, live theatre evaluation. Live works included some of those big hitters there. Some of those are there were national tours going on, so things like The Ocean at the End of the Lane and Life of Pi and Othello, Metamorphosis. People were going to see them, and really good responses from students to those. Um, and then there were those that were given permission to use Streamworks, and so again, some really wonderful things, mainly from the National Theatre Archive there, with things like Frankenstein and Peter Pan. Um, so that's component three, and that's last year. We've dealt with last year now. If you do have any other questions, then again, just feel free to ask. We'll now move forward, though, to this academic year. At this point, I'm just going to have a little sip of water to help my cold, whilst you type some questions in. Sam's asked a good question, which is it a requirement for students to go and see a piece of theatre, live theatre in both year 10 and 11? It's not a requirement, no. It's a requirement across the whole of the 2 years that they go and see at least one thing. If there is the opportunity, then absolutely. And as well, it's worth considering within GCSE that students can, in the exam, refer to amateur work and school productions. They don't have to go and see professional work. Obviously, if you are going to take them to see amateur or school productions, I would say just make sure that there's enough kind of production elements and there's enough for them to be able to talk about. Yeah, that would be my advice. Um, uh, Emma's asked about component two lighting. Our camera struggles to pick up accurate colours used by the students. Would it help if we included images of the lighting states to submit to the examiner? Is this where you've got a lighting designer, Emma? Because if so, it might be worth considering what the equipment is that you're using. So you've talked about a camera, but I'm just wondering whether or not there's other equipment available. Like for instance, if your smartphone can record things, that might be a better way to do it. I suppose it's just anything that you're able to have some white balance adjustment. And but if you want to talk about that further, you can contact us, and I'll give you my details at the end. Um, Poppy, in regards to contacting us around getting permission to use streamed or recorded, absolutely. You just need to get in touch. I'll give you the details. You just need to email us at drama.assessment@pearson.com. Right, before I answer any more, let's have a look at what's happening this year. Because there's been a couple of changes, which are nice changes, we hope. Here are some key dates that you need to know. Now, these key dates are all taken from the admin support guide. Link at the top should work. Hopefully, won't take you to lead examiner report. And these dates are all for your year 11s. Because they're the ones who are going to be doing the things around text submission choices, moderation, etc. If you've got year 10 students, you don't have to do anything formal, as in you don't need to make any entries, you don't need to submit any forms. The only thing that you could do with your year 10s this year, as well as taking them to see live theatre, is you could do component one. And lots of centres do component one in the spring and summer terms of year 10. So, but again, even if you were to do that, you still don't need to do anything with the work that you've done. You would submit it the following year by May the 15th. In terms of the online text submission form, that's now available for you to complete, and that's for your component 2 and component 3 choices. You must complete this form 6 weeks prior to your component 2 performance date. So the final date for submitting your choices would be around the 7th of March, but we'll have a look at that process in a moment. You need to tell us what live theatre you've been to see by the 8th of May. And the link to the declaration form is in the admin support guide. And for component 1, the submission date is the 15th of May. The learner work transfer platform will open around the 15th of April for you to be able to start to submit those. We have extended the component 2 window again this year, so it's now huge. It now runs from the 6th of January all the way through to the 25th of April. If you want to do performances between the 6th and the 31st of Jan, you wouldn't be able to get a visiting examiner. You'd have to do it digitally, but that's, your choice. You can request a visiting examiner for performances taking place between the 1st of February through to the 25th of April. If you have got less than 4 students, then you can't get a visiting examiner. You can only have digital assessment. But centres with 4 or more students can do either. You can do digital submission or you can do visiting examiner. Sam, if you are, excuse me, going to complete component 1 in this academic year, you don't submit that work until May 2025. That's correct. Zawina, if your students saw 2 live theatre productions, yes, they can choose which one they want to write about. That's absolutely fine. You just need to make sure that the notes that they write are for one production only. So they can't take in notes for both productions. They can only take them in for one. And I just saw a question there about people, places, and things. Oh, that's a hard-hitting show for GCSE students. Okay, Beth, you've been in touch. Okay, well, let me know if you have any problems, and hopefully we'll be in touch with you shortly. Right. Okay. So, in terms of the way in which you submit your text choices, what you see on the screen is the qualification page, the GCSE qualification page, and the bit with all the orange arrows is where you will put in your text choices for components 2 and component 3 for your year 11 students only. When you open it up, it will look like this. So you will click whichever set text that you're doing. If for some reason within your centre you're doing 2 set texts and they're from 2 different lists, that's fine. You just have to do the form twice. So try not to do both because the form would just get confused, and it wouldn't work. Louis, just going back to that component 1. Yeah, sorry, Sam, you put May 25, but of course it wouldn't be May 25, it would be May 26 because May 25 is at the end of this academic year. We're all confused, but well done for those who stepped in, Louise and Zoe, heroes. So we've got here, when you do then, on this example that you can see here, chose DNA, and then in the select items box is where the list of all the available plays for DNA would be. So all the plays that are not black comedies, they're not written by Dennis Kelly, and they are written before the year 2000. As we discussed earlier, we will endeavour to make an Excel sheet so you can have a look before you get to this stage. There's at least 2,000 plays though on here, so it's going to be quite a big Excel sheet, so prepare yourselves. If there is a play that you want to do, but it's not on the list, it's either because it clashes with the selected set text, or we've just not added it yet. So if it's not there, then please email us, drama.assessment@pearson.com, and we'll be in touch as soon as possible, usually within a couple of weeks. On this page as well, there's also a list of unsuitable texts. So when you have a look at that, it will show you any play that is less than 45 minutes, because that's a requirement that any play used here needs to be at least 45 minutes. And there's also the 12 set text, because students are not allowed to use any of the 12 set text in component 2, even if they're not studying it in component 3. They will get 0 marks, and we don't want that. So yeah, hopefully, Yasmin, that just answered your question. It will be a couple of weeks. What's good about the text submission form, though, is say, for instance, you're doing DNA and you put the 5 plays in the select items, and they all come up and they're all there. Once you press submit, that's it. You can just do them. It's only if you've submitted to if you request approval from us with a play that isn't on the list, that's when you have to wait a couple of weeks. So hopefully it's pretty straightforward for you all. In terms of the admin support guide, you can find it on the website by using that link, so course materials and then forms and administration. Of course, you've all got a copy now because it's in the pack, your delegate pack today, so that's good. We are going to be sending a survey round to all our centres, and hopefully it will be, what day is it today? Wednesday. Hopefully it will be by Friday. And this is a questionnaire to find out whether what you'd like to do this year in terms of component 2. So, for instance, if you what weeks, what dates you were hoping to do, and also whether you were thinking of doing a visit or you wanted to record it. Now, this is not a formal booking process. It's just to give us an indication so we know where you're at, because we will not allocate an examiner to you unless you've made exam entries. Or you won't be able to do the exam unless you've made exam entries. So if you're a new centre, we wouldn't know who you are, so you've definitely got to make exam entries. If you're an existing centre, then we could make them, but you may get contacted by an examiner, but you still need to make the entry in order to do the work, because without it, you can't get into LWT, etc., etc. So it's worth speaking to your exams office at your centre about when they would do exam entries, because the closing date for UK centres is around the 21st of February, but the closing date for international centres is around the 21st of March. So it is worth checking with them to see when they'd be able to do your entries. You're able to do entries from the end of November. So in terms of this survey, we'll be sending this round, and you will be able to do it. So it'll come through as a bulletin. It will probably go to your exams office and then they'll pass it to you. It will also be in my newsletter. If you get my newsletter, it'll be there. I will also put it on the Facebook groups. If you haven't signed up to my newsletter, then I will give you the details in a moment of where you can sign up to it. Zoe, if you have a year 10 only, you may get the survey, but you don't need to complete it. This is only for students who will be doing component 2 between January and April in this academic year. And Mason, it's your first year of teaching the GCSE course. So if you've just got year 10s, Mason, then you won't be doing component 2 this year. If you do have year 11s, then and you're UK based, and there's okay. So for your year 11s, if you got over 4 of them, then you have a choice of whether to do the visit or the recording. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this is the webpage where you can find all my updates and my newsletters. You may never have seen this page before. But this is through the subject link and then drama, theatre and performing arts. So if you haven't signed up to my newsletters, you can sign up on this page. And also you can see my latest newsletters. So if in the next couple of weeks you haven't had the survey, you haven't had a newsletter, you've got year 11 students, and you're thinking, it would be good to get that survey, then please do get in touch with me and I will send you the details. Jade, you can't access the link for WeTransfer. WeTransfer? I'm not sure. I don't know. Here we go. My lovely colleague is helping you. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for explaining. Okay, so next on the agenda is about live theatre evaluation, and we've talked about this a little bit already, but it's just to clarify that it is a regulatory requirement that students see live theatre at least once over the 2 years. So you need to do the confirmation form that's in the ASG, and students need to have seen the live theatre by the 8th of May, which is coincidentally the date of the component 3 exam. But as I also said before, if there's any reason why your students, UK based or internationally based, cannot see live theatre, whether it's geographical position, illness, injury, cost of living, etc., then please do get in touch with us, and we will do our best to help. AI. This is slightly contentious, and it's how we've produced some guidance for students and for you on what is allowed within the context of component 1, because that's where the AI would be most likely to be used. So the document is in the resources, which most of you can access. Some of you are still struggling with, but it's also on our website as well. And we talk about AI in the context of research in the devising process, so also, like, it could be research into performance genre and style, in response to the stimulus, the themes, historical facts, and things like that, and influential theatre practitioners. If students use AI tools for research, then they have to clearly reference this within the body of their portfolio. But the guidance should be in the pack today, and it's also on our website. But if in doubt, you can always contact me. We have got some training events coming up this term for components 1 and 2. Excuse me. On the 11th and 14th of November. These are online events, they're free. So if you want to book, hopefully the link, the pink link, will take you through to the training page. We will also, I think I mentioned this before, but just to clarify, we will also be releasing some more exemplars, and there will be a kind of an insights recording that will be released later this term, which covers all three components, and that's going to be from the chief examiner. Um, and we should be doing some further component through support, but more news on that when it happens. Okay, FAQs. These are questions that I've been getting asked quite a lot recently, so just thought it would be good in this forum to just provide you with some guidance on that. So, a new student has been transferred into your Year 11 group, and your Year 10s have already completed Component 1. So, what could be done? And I would suggest that offering the student to complete component 1 now and using two non-assessed individuals, which could be other students or teachers or whomever, people from outside to participate is probably the best way to do it. The student could write the work, they could create the work, and then the two non-assessed individuals rehearse and perform. They don't need to contribute to the devising. So if you choose to do this, and you want to, then just get in touch with us and we can provide the permission. Because the other choice is that potentially you try and leave it to later on in the year when your year 10s might be doing it, and you try and do it before the May the 15th deadline so that the student works with them. Or the worst case scenario is the students don't do it at all, and then they're missing out on 40% of the grade, which is a really, it's not the best option, is it? But there's the choice. Oh, Hugh, you sorted it. That's very good to know. Um, Joanna, can they write about stream performance in the exam even if they've been to the actual theatre? Um, the use of the streamed performance is there for those who need it because they've not been able to access the live theatre. So I would say you'd have to get our permission for that before you went ahead, if that's all right. Uh, um, why is live theatre compulsory for Edexcel? And other boards allow digitally streamed productions. Well, it is a regulatory requirement by Ofqual that all students, whatever board they do, have to go and see live theatre, so that they have to make statements to say that they've been to see them, but potentially they allow them to use the streamed work instead within the live theatre evaluation. A bonus for our students is, of course, that they can have 500 words of notes, which really does make a significant difference to the student experience within the exam. So we investigated this last year. We did surveys, we asked teachers. The overwhelming majority said keep the notes. So that's why we've got the notes and the live theatre. Can my students use a component 3 text for component 2 or the live theatre evaluation if they are not studying that text? So no, the answer is no, they cannot. The set texts, there's 12 of them are sacrosanct and can't be used. Some questions that have come in. Zuina about how does that work when they have to work with a group perspective? I mean, it's a trying to find a solution to what is a very difficult situation. So the fact is that the student is making all the decisions. They can still do it. They can still do component 1 and they can still access all the marks even if they've written it and they've got two non-assessed to perform with them. Aaron, you've asked about you've only got one student left. So I suppose it depends on where well, if you've done component 1, fingers crossed you have, then you've only got component 2 and 3 to do, and that means that you could just do it with one student. If you've still got component 1 to do, then you're going to have to use non-assessed individuals for that. But if you want to talk about it some more, please get in touch. Rosie, you've got a student who's completed with OCR and now moved to you. Um, Need to have a look at the key differences between the OCR devising work, and because the OCR devising work has got slightly different rules around the questions that they do and also the groups that they're in. So yeah, we might need to look at that a bit closer, Rosie. So if you haven't got in touch with us already, then please do. Um, Funder, hello, Funder. Duologues or monologues allowed for component one in the near future? Not at the moment, no. Um, we're continuing with the groups. Sam, there is some guidance on live theatre reviews within our documents on the website. So it might be worth having a look at those. Um, but that's an interesting point actually around. I'm wondering whether you're thinking of it in terms of design and performance and how you set the notes out and things. And I don't think we go into that level of detail. So that might be quite an interesting thing to explore. Um, so, ideas and resources and approaches for teaching the components. If anybody wants to share anything within the chat, please do so. If there's anything that, because as you can see from today, we have some new teachers with us. We have some teachers who are very well established, and if there's anything that you wish to share with each other, there are definite go-tos that you would use, then please feel free to say. One thing that this is hot off the press. We will be creating an exemplar library. It's going to be much easier for you to be able to access all of the materials for all three components according to marks and levels. So that's going to be later on in the year. It's definitely not going to be this term, but that's something that hopefully within the spring term we'll be able to have, and that's going to make things a lot easier, I think, for everybody. Um, Now, some resources. This is National Theatre, which I presume that all the UK centres have free access to, the National Theatre Collection. It's got loads of really good stuff. It's got the resource packs for lots of productions. There's an amazing one on Katie Mitchell. I mean, I know that you don't have to do practitioners for GCSE, but it's really good. Like it's a really, really good resource if you're looking for, because it's like a 95-page document with loads of lesson plans and things, and then also like a film that she's made directly for students. So um, have a look at that. It's really good. Um, if anybody is out and about, oh yeah, it is, isn't it, Emily? It's really brilliant. Um, and I don't mean to show off, but I had a meeting with Katie Mitchell last week about it because she wanted her and the National Theatre wanted to know how it was, and I said it's a really good resource, but if there's any more that can be added to it around kind of devising for component for component one, then please do so. And she's like, yeah, I can do that. So yeah, braggy, but wouldn't you? It was really good. Anyway, on the 11th of November, there is an event in London at the Royal Opera House, which is Theatrecraft. So if you do have any students who are interested in going, it's a free careers event. Um, and there's loads of kind of practical workshops and talks and industry professionals and demonstrations and stuff. This is an interesting one. This is a Lit in Colour playlist launch on Wednesday, the 23rd of October. That's in London. I'm sorry, this is so London centric, but this is what happens, isn't it, in the world of theatre? There is a book launch, and if anybody is interested in going, please let me know because they want you to go. They want teachers. I'm going to see if I can. Will it allow me to do this? Yeah. Oh no, that's not the right one. I will. If you are interested, please let me know and I will send you the link so you can book tickets. I'll be going. Um, there's also an ancient drama festival taking place in Warwick in the the end of January. Sorry, the 31st of January is a school's day, and there's loads of seminars and a matinee performance of Agamemnon, and it's all free. Um, and yeah, they've got loads of good stuff going on. So, excuse me, if you wanted to book, the pink link should work. But if not, just search for Warwick Ancient Drama Festival if you're interested in that. See, something that isn't London focused. Oh, sorry, here's another London focused one, which is production of The Other Place, which is taking place at the National Theatre. And yeah, I've received quite a lot of queries about this as well. If you have if you want to take students to see this, um, and they're doing it Antigone, that's fine. We contacted the National Theatre. They spoke to um, Zeldin, the writer, Alexander Zeldin, who confirmed that uh, it doesn't follow the plot of Antigone. The characters are not the same. It's um, it's naturalistic. It refers to Greek tradition, but if you did want to use it and you were doing Antigone, it's fine to do it. On the 7th of November, there's the student conference. It's kind of A-level focused. You might have A-level students, and therefore you could always check and see if there are tickets. So I don't know whether there's any other ideas you want to share. I will send. I know it was mentioned. I have year 10. This is Rafaela. Hello, Rafaela. Year 10, everything that needs to be submitted must be done next year when they're in year 11. That is absolutely correct. Yeah. You don't need to do any entries, no submissions if you've only got year 10s. It's only year 11 students. Um, duh, duh, duh. For those who have struggled to download stuff, by the way, please remember that everything is on the website. It's only the presentation that isn't, and we can get that sent to you afterwards anyway. So don't worry if you can't access that now. Um, oh, sorry, Louise. Have I been ignoring you? Didn't see that question. Can a pair of students perform scenes from teachers? Well. I mean, just trying to think, like there are some scenes but they're all three of them are on stage at the same time, aren't they? But then they go off and that they do other things. I think maybe it just depends on which scene it is. Um, because if all three actors are on stage in the original at the same time, do they go off? Sorry, my mind is becoming a fuzz. If anybody else can answer this question, if there are any moments within teachers when there's just two performers, because obviously they're playing all the different characters as well. Maybe there's a way of being able to, maybe there's a way of being able to cut it, Louise. Maybe. Uh, have a go. Bryony, can I clarify that A-level students attending the other place can use it for the live theatre review? Yes, they can. Uh, Never apologise for asking the same question. Matt's got a top tip. Uh, get your head around the ASG early, especially in reference to all the admin that the examiner needs. Good point. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. On the screen, it looks quite blurry, my face on that image. Maybe that's a good thing. That's my email address. I work with the drama assessment team, but I'm not part of the drama assessment team. So you can contact me separately, and those emails will come straight through to me at teachingperformingarts@pearson.com. And Bryony, yes, they can use Antigone with the other place because we've had it clarified that they are sufficiently different. You can call. It wouldn't come through to me. It would come through to my colleagues, and if I'm available, then I'll chat to you. There's a Facebook group, which I'm sure lots of you use, EdExcel, Teachers of EdExcel GCSE Drama. Thank you, Emma. There's a booking appointment that you can use where you can have a one-to-one with me. And yeah, it seems very popular. And as I said before, there's the um, monthly update that you can sign up to. So I think that's everything. I think that all the questions have been asked. Probably get told now. Oh, here we go. That's good. Well done, Annalise. And it turns out that you know each other. Isn't that wonderful? Lovely connections and support, all in one go. Right. I think that's everything, isn't it? Is it? If you've got any more questions, please put them in now. Otherwise, it's been a delight. I feel, considering my cold, that I've done remarkably well. I've only coughed a couple of times. You've not seen me blow my nose. Too much information. But thank you all. Uh, and Yasmin, for C2, after submitting the form and drop down list, can we start working on it? Yeah. So if it's in the drop down form and you've not submitted anything to us, absolutely go ahead. You don't need that's it. There's no permission needed. And thank you everyone for joining. And we will at this point say goodbye. Thank you.